What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be discussing testosterone replacement therapy and how it was very instrumental in pulling me out of one of the darkest ruts I've ever been in my life, as well as helping me transition out of my dad bod era. I documented my transformation month to month. As you can see, I wanted to show people the physical transformation because I think it was an accurate reflection of how I was feeling inside at the time, and slowly but surely my frown became a smile. I know that sounds cheesy, but testosterone replacement therapy pretty much saved my life. I want to preface this video by saying I'm not a medical professional. I am not giving out any medical advice in this video. Everything I'm describing in this video is under a medical professional supervision, and I do comprehensive blood work. Initially, I started doing blood work every 3 months, so quarterly, to make sure that I got to a stable level. And once I was at an optimal range for my testosterone and my thyroid, I got put on every 6 months. Now I do my appointments every 6 months. A little bit of backstory, quite a few years ago, I was hospitalized for my mental health. I went through a very bad depression. There was a lot of turmoil in my life. A lot of things happened. I had some financial issues. It was a mess. I had to dig deep. All I had left was to work on my faculties. I had to get my mind back straight and get myself back on the straight and narrow and get my life back together. As I stated in a previous video, there was a lot of different modalities I was using to pull myself out of this depression. Prior to doing the TRT, I was sleeping like 15 hours a day. I was suffering from all these aches and pains. It was brutal. I empathize with anybody who is going through a depression or has gone through a depression. And I want whoever's watching this to know that you can 100% pull yourself out of the situation you're in. As long as you can get your mind in a positive framework, everything around you will work itself out. I know that sounds cliche, but I truly believe that when we work on ourselves and we take little steps to get out of a dark place, the dark place can actually teach us a lot about ourselves, and it can turn us into who we actually want to be. I always wanted to be a stronger person, and without getting too emotional and too into the psychology of my recovery, I want you to know that you can pull yourself through. There's so many different ways. We have so many resources nowadays. All you need is a positive mindset, your physical health, and even sometimes when your physical health isn't there, you can pull yourself out. The whole mind-body connection. I want to discuss a lot about that on this channel because I've been through all of this stuff. I want to clarify that taking testosterone replacement therapy is not something to be taken lightly. I was in strong contemplation about sharing this video. It's not an easy topic to discuss online in front of everyone. It makes you very vulnerable, and in the midst of all of these fake natties, I'm coming out and basically saying that I'm using TRT. It really bothers me when I see influencers online with selfish agendas pretending that they're not on TRT, or if they come out and say they're on TRT, they're actually on an exorbitant amount of drugs. I think this creates unrealistic expectations. I think it creates body image issues for the younger people watching, and sometimes even the older people watching. I know when I was young, I used to think everyone was natural. I'm speaking from experience. I was a competitive bodybuilder at one point in my life. There was a time where I was very jacked. I had like 20-inch arms. I could deadlift 6 plates a side. I was benching almost 4 plates. So I've been there, I know what it is, and I want my channel to be a channel of honesty and integrity. So that's why I'm sharing this. Once again, I'm not suggesting anybody take TRT. Like I said before, it's not something to be taken lightly. It's a lifelong commitment. There are a ton of positives. I think the positives far outweigh the negatives, but there are a lot of negatives as well. So let's look at my blood markers. Let's take a look at my blood work. Back in June of 2023, my free test was at 287. The normal range is between 300 and 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. Now I'm at 565 nanograms per deciliter. My free T3 was at 3.8. Now my free T3 is at 6.4. I'd like to discuss my anecdotal month to month, like emotional and psychological experiences. Prior to taking the TRT, I became really withdrawn. I was very depressed. I became almost agoraphobic, where it's like you don't want to leave your house. It was crazy because like I love the summer. I'm born in the summer. I look forward to the summer. I like the winter too sometimes, but I find that when it's really long and drawn out, I'm kind of get sick of it. I think all of us in Canada start getting sick of the winter, but I usually can't wait until the summer comes, just like most people. During this time, just to paint a picture of how depressed I actually was, I didn't want the sun to hit me. I wanted to be in the dark all the time. I wanted to sleep. My joints were killing me. My feet hurt, my knees hurt. Going to work, lifting stuff. I have a construction business, and just lifting materials, light materials that I can normally lift with one hand, it felt like I couldn't lift them with two hands. I went from bench pressing 225 pounds for reps to barely being able to touch the bar. Everything was just out of whack. There's a lot more to the story that I'm gonna share in another video, but physically this is where I was at. Another thing too that might be a lot of information, but I think it's something a lot of middle-aged men suffer from, and that's erectile dysfunction. Testosterone replacement therapy definitely helps with erectile dysfunction, but I didn't even know that I was suffering from it until I actually saw the doctor. This is probably gonna sound funny talking about this in a video, but I think it's something that's important to be addressed, and it doesn't just mean that you can't get it up. There's a lot more to that. Seeing as how everything was tanked, my red blood cell count was also very low because I suffer from a genetic blood disorder that Mediterranean people sometimes inherit, and I don't produce as much red blood cells as a normal person does. When you take testosterone replacement therapy, your red blood cell count goes up. So this was definitely a positive for me. For some people, it's a negative because you have to keep that in check. But for me, it was 100% a positive. I started taking 120 milligrams per week. I started with injections once a week. I started to notice that my mood would dip towards the end of the week. So I split my dosage up to Mondays and Thursdays. This ensured that my mood would be stabilized. She also prescribed me thyroid to get my thyroid up, a desiccated thyroid, and now I'm taking T3, which is another form of thyroid. I take them both twice a day and the testosterone twice a week. A con with this is also that administering testosterone is uncomfortable, and some people are afraid of needles. I'm not one of those people. It's not really that big of a deal. And intramuscular, you can take it intramuscularly or subcutaneously. People that take testosterone for bodybuilding, they're taking like 5 times the amount of a TRT dose. These are doses just to keep you at a normal range. Me being at 565 now is an optimal range, especially for someone my age. It'd probably be comparable to being a 25-year-old man again. After the first 2 or 3 weeks being on TRT, I started noticing a greater sense of well-being. That agoraphobia that I had started to slowly wear off. Things started becoming lighter. I was more social. Prior to this, I was very withdrawn. I didn't want to talk to anybody. When we had family get-togethers, I was the most quiet person in the room. People would be asking me, Joe, why aren't you talking? Why are you so quiet? Normally, I'm the type of person that likes to joke around and laugh, and I was just very withdrawn. I started noticing that these symptoms were slowly dissipating, and I was starting to feel like myself again. Probably by the month point, I started noticing the erectile dysfunction symptoms were gone, and I felt like I was 25 again. You have that drive again. You start feeling a drive. The libido is a big part of what motivates us as men. It makes us want to go and do things. It makes you more sharp. My mind became more clear. That, along with me getting up in the morning and listening to my positive mantras, looking in the mirror, telling myself a new story, no more negative self-talk. I had to battle that for a very long time. It was very uncomfortable. It's kind of comparable to being on camera and talking to a camera. That's not comfortable either, especially trying to make it interesting. I'm hoping that this video is interesting to you. I started getting stronger at the 2-month mark, a lot more energy, and now let's fast forward to now. I'm a lot stronger. I can bench press 225 pounds for, I think the most I did was about 12 reps this summer. Before this, like I said, I couldn't even touch the bar. I was so sore, so injured. I started deadlifting 405 pounds again. Right now I can't do that because I'm an old man. Like my strength goes up and down. It's really weird. Like 1 month you're deadlifting 405 pounds and like literally the next day you're like doing 3 plates and it feels like you're lifting a mountain. I can still do reps with 3 plates, but because I'm old, I like to take it more easy when I'm training. I've noticed that I'm physically a lot stronger. My mind is a lot clearer. I'm a lot more social. There's a lot of positive things going on in my life, whereas when you're in a negative headspace, you don't make the same decisions. When your mind is not thinking positively, you don't make the same decisions. And I truly believe in the power of like manifestation and the power of positive thinking, the power of being around positive people, being very careful of what you're putting in your body, what you're putting in your brain, what kind of music you're listening to, what you're reading, what you're watching on YouTube. I'm hoping that this channel is going to be something that somebody can listen to and they can gain some insight, gain some motivation, some inspiration to make a positive change, because I've been through such a dark period in my life. I've been through such hell that where I'm at right now, it almost feels like heaven. It's just like it's such a good time. I feel like I'm completely at peace. I want to share some of the cons of TRT as well. I know I touched on some of them. It's expensive. It costs me $400 for my appointments twice a year. And on the conservative side, if I don't take all of the vitamins that I'm prescribed and I'm just taking the testosterone and the thyroid, it costs me roughly $200 a month. So that could be viewed as a negative. That being said, if you have benefits, they're generally covered. I'm self-employed, so I kind of get screwed that way. I gotta pay. But I don't look at it as being screwed. It's investing in yourself, and it's a lifelong commitment. That could be viewed as also a con. It can also cause infertility. This was a risk I was willing to take because I was in such a dire situation. I needed to pull myself out of this rut. I wanted to pull myself out as fast as I could. It wasn't a very fast process because TRT doesn't kick in immediately. It's not just this miracle drug that you take and you turn into the Hulk and you can run through walls. It's not gonna make you a gigantic hulking muscle man. It is not meant for that. It's meant to level out your levels, especially if you're going to a reputable TRT clinic. Another negative to TRT is it makes your natural testosterone go down. It can cause you to be hypogonadal, which is when your testes are not producing testosterone because you're taking in exogenous testosterone. So that's a negative as well. These are all things that one has to consider prior to making the decision to go on TRT. Obviously, it's a decision that's made with a health professional, and I would hope that anybody making this decision is thinking long and hard about it. There are elements of it that I look at and I'm like, wow, I have to do this for the rest of my life. There are some side effects, but I would not be where I'm at right now at this level if it wasn't for TRT. That's all I have for this video. Let me know in the comments if you enjoy this type of content. I'm still trying to find my niche. I think a lot of people like the fitness content. I talk to a lot of people that I know that have watched my videos, and some of the newer viewers, it seems like a lot of people like the mental health, faith-based, spiritual fitness content. I want this channel to kind of be a mind, body, spirit type of channel where we discuss overall wellness. If you want to help me with the algorithm, give me a like and a subscribe, hit the bell notification button. And remember, no matter what you're going through, you can get through it. You will get through it. It's just a matter of reprogramming your subconscious, getting your physical health right, getting your mental health right, getting your spiritual health right. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. See you in the next video. I'm out.